What's up, everybody? This is your man Deshaun BBN, and welcome back to another edition of the All Cats Everything and Then Some podcast. As always, I got that Kentucky blue. It's even on my shorts, as you can see. Yep, yep. Like Drake said, I rock Kentucky blue on these hoes. But anyways, let's get into this, shall we? Now, Kentucky hasn't played any basketball games this week. Matter of fact, we don't play until Saturday against Fairleigh Dickinson. Now, as long as we take care of business and don't play down to our competition, they should win that game. So, I don't know if there really needs to be a recap of that on the next edition, but whatever. I'm not sure if I gave a shout out to Kentucky football last week, so I'm gonna give y'all a shout out today. Good job. Way to beat them dirty birds, the Louisville Cardinals. L's down. Yeah, I know Louisville doesn't like that, but I don't care. I mean, you got beat. So we have every right to show off. I mean, y'all love to throw the L's up. Well, L's down today because y'all got beat. 45-13, as a matter of fact. Now, I didn't actually see the game. I was on the road, so I was following it on my phone. I saw that Louisville. At one point in the game, I thought Louisville was about to take the momentum and beat us. We was up 17-6. We went for it on fourth down in the closing minutes of the second quarter. We didn't convert. Louisville scored on one play. I think it was like a 56-yard shovel pass to Hawkins or whoever it might be. 17-13. But they didn't panic. They didn't sweat it. They took back momentum in the second half, ended up winning 45-13. The crazy thing is, we only threw for 4 yards that whole game. We pounded Louisville on the ground, 500 plus yards as a team. Lynn Bowden had 284 of those 500 plus yards. That was I don't think I've ever seen a team win a game with only 4 yards passing, but we pulled it off, and we did it against our biggest rival too, Louisville. I gotta say, this season was a good one for Kentucky, despite all the adversity. Terry Wilson got injured second game of the year. Backup quarterback Sorry Smith got injured, so we had to rely on Lynn Bowden and completely change our offense. Now, there were some times where the Wildcat option offense didn't work. Like Tennessee shut us down in the second half and beat us. Georgia shut us down and beat us. But for the most part, we was able to ground and pound our way to 7 victories this year. Our defense played better as the season went along. Our offensive line got better. It was a great season. And next year should be even better for Kentucky football. Terry Wilson will be back healthy. I believe Sarter Smith's going to be back too. I don't think we're losing anybody to the NFL. Well, maybe Lynn Bowden, but that's probably about it. We got a top 25 recruiting class. This is what the experts are saying. This is our best recruiting class ever in Kentucky football history. So I'm excited about next year. I think as long as we don't have any injuries, next year they should go 9-3 again. Maybe 10-2 and get in a really good bowl game. But yes, next year is still a long ways away. Got to concentrate on this year. Hopefully we get a good bowl game. Hopefully we can get the Liberty Bowl, the Gator Bowl, Outback Bowl, something other than the Music City Bowl. I remember when I was in school, when I was at Kentucky, it seemed like we went to the Music City Bowl every other year. And I'm just thinking, man, they might as well rename the Music City Bowl the Kentucky Wildcats Bowl. Because it's like we're there every year. I remember my freshman year, we played against Florida State and beat them in the Music City Bowl. Which, I gotta say, that was surprising because Kentucky, I mean, we're not really known for football. Florida State is, though. I mean, they've won multiple national championships. They produce many great NFL players, including the great Deion Sanders and Warrick Dunn, Jalen Ramsey, just to name a few. So that was a big shocker. But yeah, I gotta say, speaking of Florida State, I mean, I'm glad Mark Stoops decided not to take the Florida State job. They fired Willie Taggart. Mark Stoops, who used to be the defensive coordinator at Florida State before coming to Kentucky, he talked to Florida State. They offered him the job, but he said thanks but no thanks. And I'm glad he did. You belong at Kentucky. You need to build your legacy, establish yourself as the greatest Kentucky football coach ever. Stay here, make us a powerhouse. I mean, yeah, it might be years from now. Hell, I might be dead, but one of these days, maybe Kentucky will win a football championship, and we won't just be a basketball school. But I mean, we're not just good at basketball. Like I said, this will be the fourth year in a row we're going to a bowl game, so we're not that bad in football. I mean, the volleyball team is in the NCAA tournament again. They've won the SEC tournament for the third year in a row. So it's not like basketball is the only sport we're good at, despite what Louisville fans think. We aren't just a basketball school. Speaking of Louisville, yeah, we play y'all this month. You're going, I don't care if you are number one, you're going down. Now, I'm not saying Kentucky is going to blow Louisville out, but I do believe we'll win that game. Now, if I'm wrong and we lose, I will come on the podcast and admit I was wrong and claim that Louisville was the superior team, at least for this year. But I don't see it happening. Man, since Calipari has been Kentucky's coach, Louisville's only beat us once. Now, technically twice, but it's like you Louisville fans said, vacated games don't count. So, yeah, one of those wins y'all had to vacate. So, y'all only beat Kentucky once since Calipari's been your coach. And another fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter where we play Louisville, we still win. We beat you at Rupp. We beat you at the KFC Yum Center. We beat you on neutral courts. It don't matter. We're going to win. I mean, I hope you're still undefeated come December 28th, so Kentucky can give you that first loss. I'm calling it right now. I guarantee it. Kentucky will win. It'll be a low-scoring affair. I say 72-67, with Kentucky winning, obviously. Tyrese Maxey will be our leading scorer. He'll have a breakout game, and Nick Richards will also have a double-double, 12 points, 12 rebounds, something like that. But anyways, moving on from Kentucky football, Kentucky basketball, I also want to give out a shout out to the Tennessee Titans. Excuse me. Titans beat the Colts Sunday. Finally, seems like an eternity since we last beat the Colts. We're 7-5 with 4 games left in the season. Now, I still believe we have to go undefeated the rest of the season in order to get into the playoffs, because 9-7, 10-6 is not going to be enough to get into the playoffs this year. I don't think it is. And the rest of our schedule is tough. We got the Raiders, we got the Texans twice, we got the Saints. Now, the Raiders don't worry me too much. I mean, they just got clobbered by the Chiefs 40-9. I think we can beat the Raiders. As long as we take care of business and don't revert back to our old ways, we'll beat the Raiders. The Texans, that's going to be tough because they're trying to win the division and get the best seed possible. Now, I mean, if we can beat the Texans both times, then we would win the division. If we go undefeated, we'll win the division because we'll be 11-5, while the Texans will be 10-6. Because the Texans are 8-4 now after beating the Patriots on Sunday. Speaking of New England, y'all supposed to help us out. The one time I do cheer for you, you end up getting beat by the Texans. Well, I guess I'll never root for New England again. But anyways, yes, we got to win. We got to beat the Raiders, the Texans twice. We got to beat the Saints. We can't lose. If we want to get into the playoffs, we got to win it out. So take care of business, Titans. I want to see you on the playoffs this year. Now, moving along, I also wanted to talk about Patrick Patterson. Now, he is a former Kentucky Wildcat, spent 3 years at Kentucky. Patrick Patterson was in the news lately, but not for good reasons. Now, Patrick Patterson was attacked on social media for calling black women bulldogs. Now, of course, there's two sides to every story. Now, the whole thing started because Patrick Patterson posted a picture of his wife and himself on Instagram. Somebody on Instagram had commented saying, oh, if you wasn't a basketball player, or if you was just a regular man working at Walmart, you wouldn't have this white wife or whatever. Now, of course, I'm paraphrasing. That wasn't the exact comment. But, of course, Patrick Patterson wasn't going to let that slide. He said, and I quote, again, paraphrasing, so should I settle for a bulldog and preach about keeping it within the race, no thanks. Now, I mean, he was wrong for saying that, but it's not like he said it unprovoked. I mean, if somebody came at my wife, I would defend her too. Right or wrong, I mean, I would do it. Now, I'm the kind of person, I don't care who you date, don't care who you sleep with, don't care who you marry. That's your choice. I don't care if a black man wants to date a white woman, if a white man wants to date a Hispanic. It don't matter to me. Now, if you think you should only date marry people within your race, that's fine. But you should never disparage somebody because of who they choose to marry. You should never disrespect your own people. Now, of course, I know Patrick Patterson didn't mean to do it. He's only defending his wife, but he kind of went about it the wrong way. Now, of course, he tried to be civil and say, at first he was being civil about it. He said, I met her while I was playing in Toronto. She loves me. I love her. That's why we got married. But the guy on Instagram took it another step further, saying, oh, if he was just a regular worker at Walmart, he wouldn't have that white wife. And that's why Patrick Patterson attacked the Instagram user, saying his woman is a bulldog. Now, I mean, there's beautiful people in every race, black, white, Asian, whatever it might be. Like I said before, I'm not the kind of person I'm not going to concern myself over who somebody else chooses to marry or date. Like, I got a black neighbor across the street. I don't know if she's married or not, but it wouldn't matter to me if she's married to a white person or a Hispanic person. It's her life. If she wants to marry a white man, it's her choice. I don't care. I mean, unless I know you personally and I'm looking out for your well-being, I'm not going to concern myself over who somebody else chooses to marry or date or sleep with, whatever. All right, so yeah, enough about Patrick Patterson. Enough about Kentucky. Y'all probably tired of hearing about it. I mean, I know you are, especially if you're a Louisville fan. L's down again. But hey, the name of this podcast is All Cats Everything and Then Some. Yes, I will give my hot takes on anything sports related, but Kentucky is going to be a focal point, whether you like it or not. I mean, just saying. But anyways, moving along, as promised, I got the top 25 NBA players. Now, like I said with my other countdowns, this is strictly my opinion. This is not coming from ESPN. This is not coming from Bleacher Report. None of that. This is me. You can agree with me, disagree with me. Hell, feel free to comment your top 25 because I want to know what y'all think. I mean, I've done a top 10 countdown for every positional player. Point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. Now I'm going to put one list together for the top 25 NBA players. Now, again, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but I don't want to hear no bullshit, excuse my language, about, oh, you're just, why should I listen to your opinion? You're not a pro ball player, blah, blah, blah. That grinds my gears. That's probably my biggest pet peeve when it comes to sports. People who, like, I've seen people comment stuff on Facebook as well as YouTube and other platforms saying, man, why should I listen to you? You just some lame. You don't even play. You probably can't even ball for real. Like, really? Well, first off, this is basketball. It's not rocket science. You don't have to be a damn professional athlete to have an opinion on the NBA. I mean, if you don't like my opinion, so what? I don't care. But, I mean, I'd like to know what you think. Like, I just can't stand a kiss ass. Yeah, there I said it. A kiss ass. If you think you got to be a pro athlete to have an opinion on other pro athletes, you a kiss ass. Matter of fact, yeah, you're a kiss ass. I don't care. You don't have to be a pro athlete to have an opinion on pro athletes. Pro athletes are people just like me and you. They're not always right. I mean, hell, if an NBA player said he eats his own feces, you're not going to stick your hand in the toilet and eat your own shit, are you? Yeah, I wouldn't think so. So, yeah, you can't just listen to a pro athlete just because they're a pro athlete. I mean, I've heard some things that pro athletes have said that I've agreed with, and I've heard some things that they've said that I don't agree with. But at the end of the day, I mean, we all can have an opinion. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, let me jump right into this top 25, shall we? Number 25, my guy, Kristaps Porzingis. Now, Porzingis has been one of my favorite NBA players since he got drafted in 2015. Now, he started his career with the Knicks. Now he's playing with my Dallas Mavericks. Now, so far this year, it's been a mixed bag with Porzingis. He's been great some games, been mediocre some games. He hasn't played with any consistency so far this year, but maybe it's because he's still shaking off rust from the ACL injury. Although, I think as the season goes along, Porzingis will get better and help Luka lead the Mavericks into the playoffs this year, which will be the first time, I think, in 3 years since we've been in the playoffs. So, we need you, Porzingis. Need you to step that game up. All right. Number 24, Brandon Ingram. Actually, no, not Brandon Ingram. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons of the 76ers. Now, if you haven't heard by now, Ben Simmons made his first career three this year. Woo! Yeah! About time. Been in the league for 3 years now, and he just made his first career three-pointer. Now, I don't think he's made any threes since, but if Ben Simmons had a three-point shot, he'd be a top 10, top 15 player, without question. Ben Simmons is a great playmaker. He's got an excellent handle. He's a great rebounder, a great defender, a good finisher. The only thing he's not good at is shooting. That's the main thing that holds him back. Now, if he can just get that shooting now, Pat, he's going to be great. Hell, we might be talking about him being one of the best players in the NBA one day. But for now, Ben Simmons is at 24. All right, number 23, I've got Jason Tatum, Boston Celtics. Now, Tatum, he's playing better this year. A lot better than what he did last year. Now, he didn't have a bad second year, but he didn't make a big leap like I thought he was going to do. I thought second year in the league, he was going to play his way into the All-Star game and help the Celtics potentially reach the finals, but that didn't happen. But, Boston is doing pretty good right now this year, in part because of Tatum. They're top 3 in the Eastern Conference, and who knows, they might make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. All right, number 22, I've got Brandon Ingram. Now, Brandon Ingram, he's having a good year. He's averaging about 25 points, about 7 rebounds, 4 assists. But New Orleans is not winning a lot of games. They're under 500. I believe they're second to last in the Southwest Division. But Brandon Ingram's doing great. Can't blame it on him. He goes out there and plays his ass off every night. If he doesn't get a max contract from New Orleans, he'll definitely get it from somebody else. 25 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. That's hard to come by. He's now. I didn't like Brandon Ingram when he played for Duke, but I figured one of these days he'd be a star in the NBA. It didn't look like a future star in the making his first 3 years, but now he's finally starting to look like a star in the making. If New Orleans isn't going to give him a max, somebody will. Who, though? I don't know. Now, if I was Ingram, if I was going to leave the Pelicans, I would go and sign with a playoff contender instead of taking money to play for a bad team. Now, granted, hell, if I was an NBA player, I'd play for anybody. It wouldn't matter to me. I'd love to play in the NBA, even if it was for the worst team in the league. But I'm just saying, if I was him, for us, yeah, we'd play for anybody. But if I'm Ingram, yeah, I'd try to go to a playoff team next year. Number 21, Rudy Gobert. Now, Rudy Gobert is probably the best defensive player in the NBA. He's a great rim protector. He defends the pick and roll pretty well. He disrupts the passing lanes. He's very long, too. He's got a 7'8" wingspan, and he's 7'2". Now, Gobert, the only reason I don't have him higher is because he's limited on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, he's a great rebounder. He's a great defender, but he ain't really good for nothing but setting screens and getting putbacks. He don't really bring much to the table on offense. Now, of course, Utah doesn't really need him to do anything but get the garbage points. But all I'm saying is, if he had a more well-rounded offensive game, he'd be top 10. But for now, I'll put him at 21. All right, number 20, Donovan Mitchell. Now, even though Mitchell played for Louisville, L's down again, he's a damn good basketball player. I mean, I like Donovan Mitchell. He's great on the defensive side of the ball. He's an excellent scorer, good shooter. He's, excuse me, my personal opinion, the best player on the Utah Jazz. And part of the reason why they've been in the playoffs consecutively these last few years is because of Donovan Mitchell's play. Now, yes, Rudy Gobert, his defensive presence also helps, but Mitchell is like the only, well, he was the only scoring that they had his first couple years in the NBA. Now they got Mike Conley, they got Bojan Bogdanovic, so he's got some help scoring-wise, but yeah, Utah probably, I don't think they have enough to actually contend for a championship. I mean, they don't have enough to beat the Lakers or the Clippers in a 7-game series. But, I mean, they do have a great player to build around for the future in Donovan Mitchell. All right, number 19, my guy, Devin Booker. A former Kentucky Wildcat. He's actually the first Kentucky Wildcat to make the top 25, my top 25 countdown, at number 19. Devin Booker, he's having a great year with the Suns. If the season ended today, they'd be in the playoffs. Now, the record's not great. I think they're like 9-10, something like that. But Phoenix is playing a lot better than what they have in years past. And a lot of that has to do with Devin Booker. Now that Phoenix has a playmaker point guard in Ricky Rubio, Devin Booker can concentrate on scoring and being a secondary playmaker. I've been telling y'all, Devin Booker is one of the best scorers in the league. I mean, he's averaging over 25 points per game. He's shooting over 50%. He's shooting close to 50% from the field. He's shooting over 40% from the three-point line. He's a good playmaker, good rebounder. Defensively, he's still not there yet, but he's improving. But Devin Booker is the truth. One of these days, we might be talking about him being the best shooting guard in the game. But it would take a lot for him to overtake Harden. First, he's going to have to get the Suns into the playoffs sometime. And he is their best player, so he's going to have to get them there, or if not, demand a trade. Go be a secondary star somewhere and get you that ring. Okay, number 18, Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. Now, Bradley Beal, I mean, I guess it's not really a surprise, but Bradley Beal is one of the top 10 scorers in the league. I think he's averaging close to 30 points per game. He's also averaging about 5-6 assists, about 5-6 rebounds. The Wizards they're the top offensive team in the NBA. A lot of that has to do with Bradley Beal and his scoring. The only problem with the Wizards is they're not a good defensive team. I mean, yeah, they can score 130 points every night, but they're going to give up 140 points. And that's just not a recipe for success. Now, me personally, I'm a little surprised that Bradley Beal didn't get traded during the offseason, because before the Lakers traded for AD, there was also a rumor floating around that the Lakers might trade Lonzo Ball and I think Kuzma for Bradley Beal, but obviously that didn't happen. I mean, if Bradley Beal was on the Lakers, I don't know if they would have been able to get AD, but man, he would have been a great running mate for LeBron. I mean, he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands to score. He can create for himself if you do put the ball in his hands. He's a good playmaker. He's solid on the defensive end. He's just stuck on a bad team, just like AD was in New Orleans, just like a lot of other players before him. Anyways, moving on, number 17, Pascal Siakam. Now, Siakam won Most Improved Player last year, and he also helped the Raptors win the NBA Finals. Now he's the main man in Toronto. He's averaging 25 a game, averaging 9 rebounds, about 4 assists. Siakam, excuse me, he's pretty good. I mean, I was a little iffy with Siakam. Now, if you saw my top 10 power forwards countdown, I had Siakam at number 3. Now, some might think that's a little too high because, I mean, he's only had one great year, but Siakam's doing great this year, even without Kawhi Leonard. Now, if Toronto had another star along with Siakam, now, yeah, he hasn't made it to the All-Star game yet, but Pascal Siakam is a future star in the making. I guarantee you he'll make it to the All-Star game this year, and this won't be the last time we see him in the All-Star game. Siakam, excuse me, he needs help. Just one more star. They don't really need a big three, but if Toronto had one more star player, yeah, they could definitely repeat as champions. But I do think Toronto, they're going to make the playoffs. They'll probably make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know for sure. But we'll see how far Pascal can lead them. All right, number 17, Blake Griffin. Now, excuse me. For the time being, I got Blake ahead of Pascal Siakam, but in due time, I think Siakam will surpass Blake Griffin. I remember when Blake Griffin first came in the NBA, the big knock on him was that, oh, all he can do is dunk. Blake Griffin can't do nothing else. Well, that might have been true his first couple of years, but he ain't just a dunker. I mean, Blake Griffin got a tight handle. I mean, I've seen Blake Griffin handle the ball. He got a better handle than some guards, if we're going to be honest here. He got a nice post game. He can shoot threes. Still got some bounce. Still can finish above the rim consistently. Now, he is getting older. I believe he's 30 now. He's injury prone. He's not the best defensive player. But Blake still, as long as he stays healthy, he still has a few good years left. He still has a few years left being a top 25 NBA player. Number 15, another Kentucky Wildcat, Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, Towns is having a great year in Minnesota. Right now, I think they sit at 10-10. If the season ended today, Minnesota would be in the playoffs. And the big reason why is because of Towns. I mean, his game has improved, excuse me, all around. He's always been a good shooter, still shooting the ball great, still a beast in the post, still a great shooter. His defense has improved as well as his passing. Now, if he could just get some more help from Wiggins and Jarrett Culver, Minnesota could win consistently. Now, Wiggins, I mean, I'll give him some credit. Wiggins has played great at times this year, but not consistently great. Jarrett Culver has shown flashes of brilliance, but the only thing constant with Minnesota has been Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, he's had very few. I don't think he's had any downright bad games so far this year with Minnesota. I mean, he's still averaging a double-double, over 20 points, over 10 rebounds. He's averaging, I believe, 4 assists per game. He's, excuse me, he's getting better. I mean, one of these days, he might be in the top. He might be in the top 5 conversation. But for now, I got him at 15. Number 14, I got Nikola Yogic. Now, for now, Jokic is better than Karl-Anthony Towns, but I think Towns will surpass Jokic. I mean, he is a better defensive player than Jokic, and as well as a better shooter. Now, scoring, rebounding, I think they're about even. And Jokic has the slight edge on Towns in terms of leadership, so that's why I put him ahead of Towns. Jokic he's doing good, but he hasn't been great like we've seen in years past. I mean, he's had some struggles this year. I don't think he's had any triple doubles yet. He isn't shooting the ball as efficiently as he used to, but he's still playing great. The Nuggets are still a top 3 team in the Western Conference, so they don't have anything to worry about. I mean, Jokic, I'm pretty sure he'll get his groove back and eventually lead the Nuggets possibly to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers or Clippers. But for now, Jokic is 14. Maybe one day he might move up into the top 10. I don't know. Number 13, Kyrie Irving. Now, Kyrie, he's a great individual player. He's going to go out there and get you 25 plus points every night. He's improved as a playmaker. He's improved as a defensive player. He's okay defensively. He's not a pushover, but he's just all right. The only negative about Kyrie, he's not a leader. I mean, Brooklyn, if Kevin Durant can be 80% of what he used to be, he'll lead the way and potentially give Brooklyn a championship. Kyrie is the Scottie Pippen. He's not the Jordan. He's not that kind of guy. He's not the Jordan of a team. He is Scottie Pippen. Like, as great as Kyrie is individually, he's not a great leader. As you can see, Boston is playing better without him. They played better without him when he was there. And Brooklyn, so far this year, is playing better without Kyrie Irving. So his leadership is questionable. But because of his individual talent, I got to put him somewhere in the top 15. So I got him at 13. Number 12, Jimmy Butler. Now, the reason why I put Jimmy Butler ahead of Kyrie is because he's a better leader, as well as a better defensive player. Jimmy Butler is the only star player in Miami, but he's got Miami playing great. They're top 5 in the Eastern Conference. He's averaging a career high in assists. His scoring is down, but the rest of his game is great. His leadership, his defense, his playmaking, it's all great. Miami is one star player away from being a legitimate finals contender. Now, will it be one of their young players like Tyler Hero, who becomes a star and helps Jimmy Butler, or Bam Adebayo, or will they have to get somebody in free agency? I don't know. But Jimmy Butler, as great as Butler's playing this year, I mean, we haven't heard from him. He hasn't been in the news. He hasn't been complaining, and that's a good thing. I mean, when he's not complaining, everything works out for whatever team he's on. But when he does complain, things tend to go south. Now, the free agent class for 2020 isn't going to be as stacked as the 2019. So I don't know if Miami will be able to get a star player through free agency. Maybe they'll just have to find one in the draft. I don't know. But Jimmy Butler, I got him at number 12. And that's probably about as high as he's going to get. I mean, Jimmy Butler is pretty much in the peak of his career. He still has some good years left in him, but Jimmy Butler's already 30. I don't think we'll never be saying, oh, Jimmy Butler's the best player in the NBA. But his scoring, his defense, his playmaking is why I got him in the top 15. And next, at number 11, I've got Luka Doncic of my Dallas Mavericks. Luka, now I'll admit, when we didn't draft Luka Doncic. My Mavericks drafted Trae Young. Then we traded Trae Young to the Hawks for Luka Doncic. I got to say, thank you, Atlanta. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad y'all didn't want Luka Doncic. I'm glad y'all wanted Trae Young instead of Luka. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Trae Young's a bad basketball player. He's actually pretty damn good. But he's not better than Luka. I mean, as you can see, I mean, Atlanta is still struggling. They're like 4-15 or something like that. They are one of the worst teams in the NBA, whereas Dallas is a legitimate playoff contender. Luka's got us top 5 in the Western Conference. He's had about 4 or 5 triple doubles already this year. He's averaging 30 points per game, 10 rebounds, close to 10 assists per game. He's a baller. He's the European version of LeBron James, pretty much. Because Luka, he can score, he can shoot, he makes others around him better, good rebounder. Now, he's not the best defensive player in the world, but he does try. But, yeah, Luka, one of these days, he'll get us to the finals. I'm pretty sure Mark Cuban will do everything to keep Luka here. As long as we can get... I feel like Dallas just needs another star. Well, maybe not another star, but if we just shore up our bench depth and get like a 3-and-D wing player, that could be enough to get us to the finals. Whenever LeBron decides to call it quits. So yeah, Luka's got next. One of these days, Luka will be in the conversation for best player in the NBA. Hell, it might be next year. Well, I know. Next year, I mean, I might have Luka at number 3. But for now, I got him at number 11. All right, now time for the top 10. Number 10, Paul George. Paul George last year was an MVP candidate. He made the All-NBA defensive first team. Now he's with the Clippers. Paul George, I mean, he's one of the best two-way players in the league. He can lock you down on the defensive end, go out there and score at will, good shooter. The only bad thing I can say about Paul George, he can be hit or miss in crunch time. Take, for example, a couple years ago, his first year in Oklahoma City. Game 5 against the Utah Jazz, Paul George scores 28 points to force a Game 6. So you'd think that Game 6, Paul George will do the same thing, 28 plus points, force a Game 7. Wrong. Game 6, Paul George scored 5 points on 2 of 16 shooting. Like, if you're a superstar player, you should never get held in check that badly. You scored 5 points on 2 of 16 shooting. That's horrible, man. Especially for a player of Paul George's caliber. But you know what? He's in LA now. He's got Kawhi Leonard, who's the Jordan of that team. Paul is the Scottie Pippen of that team. So he can be the secondary guy. He doesn't have to be the guy leading the way. The Clippers, yeah, I think it's going to be between them and the Lakers as to who wins the West. And then whoever wins the West between the Lakers and Clippers will go on to win the NBA Finals. Anyways, moving on. Number 9, Paul George's former teammate, Russell Westbrook. Now, Westbrook is struggling this year. The last game that the Rockets played, it was ugly. They lost in double overtime to the Spurs. I think Harden and Westbrook together shot 29% from the field. Like, that's horrible efficiency. I mean, if you can't shoot at least 30% from the field, well, really 40% is what you need to shoot for. But if you're shooting under 30% from the field, something's wrong. Westbrook is better than that. I know he is. I mean, he's a triple double threat at any given night. He's averaged a triple double for 3 years in a row. It doesn't look like it's going to happen again this year because Harden is the main playmaker on that team. Now, I do believe Westbrook will get some triple doubles, but he's not going to finish the year averaging a triple double. Houston, though, if they're going to make some noise in the playoffs and potentially upset the Lakers or even the Clippers, Westbrook and Harden are going to have to play a lot better than that. They can't be shooting 29% from the field. Westbrook's going to have to be the aggressive scoring threat that we know he is. He's going to have to get the assist when Harden is struggling. He's going to have to carry the load. If Harden can't do it, Westbrook's going to have to do it. All right, moving on, number 8, Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is the second best point guard in the game. Damian Lillard and Portland right now are struggling. Now, Lillard, of course, he's doing his thing. He's scoring and shooting at a high level, but Portland is, I believe they're 8-14, and if the season ended today, Portland would not be in the playoffs. Now, Portland signed Carmelo Anthony. I mean, he's been a big help for them, but they still got some work to do. Damian Lillard is going to have to lead this team if they're going to get to the playoffs. So you might want to start now, Lillard, because you don't want to find yourself in too deep of a hole to where you can't dig yourself out of it. Number 7, Joel Embiid. Embiid, if you remember from my top centers countdown, is the best center in the game. He's a defensive beast. He's a great low post scorer. He can shoot from the mid range of the 3 when he's got some space. He's a leader. The only knock on Embiid, he's brittle. He's made of glass. I mean, he missed the first 2.5 years of his career because of injuries. Now, since he started playing, he's been healthier. He hasn't missed too many games due to injuries, but durability is still a concern with Embiid. But right now, I mean, he's healthy. Philadelphia's doing pretty good. I believe they're 15-6. Embiid is going to have to lead the way if Philadelphia is going to make it to the finals, because Philadelphia was my prediction for the Eastern Conference as to who would win it. But, I mean, right now, although Philadelphia is good, I don't think they're going to win the East the way they're playing right now. I mean, it'll either be the Celtics or the Raptors, but I believe Philadelphia will get their stuff together. Embiid will be the Embiid that we are used to seeing, the dominant low post presence who locks it down on defense and talks his shit. And who knows, maybe we'll see Lakers and Sixers in the finals or Clippers Sixers. I don't know. Number 6, James Harden, the best shooting guard in the game. Harden is having another good year, although his shooting numbers are down. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but they're not what we're used to seeing. I mean, we're used to seeing Harden shoot like 45% from the field and 36% from the three-point line, but he ain't shooting that this year. I mean, some games he's shooting more free throws than he is actual field goal attempts, which, I mean, it's part of the game. I mean, you can hate him for it if you want to, but free throws are part of the game, and you got to make those points. I mean, they're called free throws for a reason because they're free points. I mean, if you don't want him to get to the free throw line, don't foul him. Now, I get it. He does flop. I understand that. But if you don't want, like I said, if you don't want him to shoot free throws, you got to stop fouling him. Like, let him shoot himself into a funk because he ain't been shooting the ball great this year. Now, who knows? Eventually, those shots will start falling and Houston will start playing better. But right now, he's kind of spotty with his jump shot. So just let him keep shooting. All right, now for the top 5. Number 5, the chef, Steph Curry. Curry is hurt right now. He injured his hand. He'll be out for 3 months. We won't see him again until February, but Curry, he's the best point guard in the game. He's the best shooter in NBA history, and he should go back to being the Curry that we're used to seeing once he's back healthy. But we ain't gonna see the Warriors in the playoffs this year. They're 4-19. I believe if they don't have the worst record in the league, they're bottom three. Yeah, they're too far in the hole to dig themselves out of it. Even when Curry comes back, I don't see Golden State being able to dig themselves out of this hole. Curry, though, top five player, best shooter, one of the best scorers in the game, a pretty solid playmaker, good leader. You got to have Curry in the top five when healthy. Number 4. Hey, we look at that. Another Kentucky Wildcat, Anthony Davis. He is playing great this year. I mean, he's leading the Lakers in points. I think he's their leading rebounder as well. He'll be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. He's the leader in block shots. He's great. Best power forward in the game. He's also top 5 player. Got him at number 4. AD, now that he doesn't have to carry the load by himself, I mean, he can go out there, do his thing without having to worry about the rest of his team stepping their game up. AD, the Lakers, I don't like the Lakers, but they scary good. They're 19-3, got the best record in the league. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. They've got 2 superstars in AD and LeBron. If they get past the Clippers in the playoffs, they're going to win the championship because I just don't think there's anybody from the East that could stop them. I mean, maybe Milwaukee if they get there, but I'm thinking whoever wins the West between the Lakers and Clippers is going to win the finals this year. AD, hopefully, will win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I mean, he may not be the only great defensive player in the league, but he's playing the best defense in the league, in my personal opinion, right now, while also being a menace on the offensive side of the ball, too. Number 3, King James, LeBron. Now, you can say whatever you want about him. I know he's got a lot of haters. Oh, he's got a 3-6 record. He's this, and that. But he's still one of the best players in the game. He's still one of the top 5 to 10 greatest players of all time. Now, if y'all want, hell, I'll do a top 25 for the greatest NBA players of all time. But that's a different story. LeBron James, yes, I do believe he's a top 5 player all time. But as of right now, as of current NBA players, he ain't the best anymore, but I still got him at number 3. I mean, LeBron, he's still playing at a high level, still scoring at will most games, still one of the best playmakers in the game, still rebounding the ball at a high level. He's playing better defense, too. Now, that's the last 3-4 years, that's been the big knock on LeBron. He don't play defense. But this year, he's been playing some pretty good defense. Now, I'm not saying he's locking people down, but LeBron is playing good. I mean, that's got to count for something. I mean, he may not be great, but at least he's playing defense. And he's leading the way. Lakers, LeBron is a big reason, as well as AD, as to why the Lakers got the best record in the league. And LeBron and AD will be the reason why the Lakers potentially will win the Western Conference and maybe even the NBA Finals. Number 2, the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I didn't write it down because I tried to spell it out, but I'm like, I ain't writing that shit. That's too long. I don't even know if I'm spelling this right. Yeah, Giannis, to me, he reminded me of LeBron when he was in his prime, when he was at his best. He reminded me of Miami LeBron, but without the jump shot. Giannis he's killing it this year. I mean, scoring at a high rate, defending at a high level. He's leading Milwaukee. He's still not a good 3-point shooter, but he's still, even without a 3-point shot, he's damn near unstoppable. And he's just entering the prime of his career too. Giannis, now if he does develop a consistent jump shot, that might be enough to put him as the best player in the NBA. But for now, he's at number 2. Number 1, if you haven't guessed, is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, still one of the best defensive players in the game. He's an elite scorer. He's a leader. He's got the Clippers rolling. The Clippers, I stand by my prediction. The Clippers and Lakers will meet each other for the Western Conference Finals. Kawhi Leonard, if the Clippers go on to win the Western Conference and then the NBA Finals, Kawhi Leonard will win Finals MVP for the 3rd time in his career. Kawhi Leonard is still in his prime, so he's going to be the best player in the league for some time. Now, my wife thinks LeBron's still the best, which, I don't. I mean, he's still great, but I think for now, Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the game, and he will remain the best player for the foreseeable future, for the next 4 to 5, 6 years, maybe longer. I mean, unless Giannis develops a consistent jump shot and gets a championship for the Bucks, Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the game. Kawhi Leonard, I mean, he's a better shooter than Giannis. They're about even defensively. I mean, Kawhi a little bit better as a leader, so that's why I got him at number one. Now, if you're wondering, yeah, Kevin Durant was not in my top 25 because he ain't playing this year. But next year, when he's back healthy and if he shows that he can be 80% of his old self, he'll be back in the top 25. Hell, he'll be in the top 3 to 5 area. But since he's injured, since he's still recovering from that Achilles tendon, I'm not putting him in the top 25. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. It's your man, Deshaun BBN. Y'all have a great Thursday.